want to talk today about authenticity being the secret ingredient to personal branding for Black women. Okay, so we're gonna chat it up today. I'm excited to be here to chat about this because it has definitely been a lot of discussions going on behind the scenes, and I want to bring some of these conversations to the forefront today. In case you are new to me, my name is Melanie Aldenny. I'm a personal branding consultant, LinkedIn strategist, and I help executive women of color to build their visibility, capitalize on new opportunities beyond the 9 to 5 so they can impact their industries, communities, and beyond without sacrificing authenticity. Okay, so let's dive into this conversation today because I kind of have a lot to say. Okay, I kind of have a lot to say, and I want to talk about this because, like I said, there has been a lot of conversation happening around this topic because I'm feeling like Black women collectively feel like they cannot be themselves as they navigate the world, as they navigate their job, right? And so I want to just kind of talk about this because I want to bring some of these things to the forefront, and hopefully challenge people listening to embrace their authenticity and not sacrifice who they are for the sake of, I don't know, a paycheck or a promotion or what acceptance or whatever else, right? And so for me, I'm kind of a word girl, right? I'm a writer at heart. And so when we talk about these concepts, I like to define things, right? I like to define things. So let's start by defining personal branding, okay? So I have this beautiful definition of personal branding that I pulled from Wikipedia, and I love it. It's my favorite definition that I found. And it says personal branding is the conscious and intentional effort to create and influence public perception of an individual by positioning them as an authority in their industry, elevating their credibility, and differentiating themselves from the competition to ultimately advance their career, widening their circle of influence, and have a larger impact. Beautiful. That really sums it up very, very well, right? So, personal branding, when you break it down, is basically you curating information to put yourself out there so that people can perceive you in a certain light for the purpose of some end, some desire, right? Whether that be advancement in the career, right? Some impact on maybe a social issue or their circle of influence, get customers, clients, whatever that may be. Okay. So here's the key that I want y'all to remember, and we're going to come back to this. But that part of the definition that said to create and influence public perception. We'll come back to that. We're going to come back to that. So let's talk about authenticity now, right? So, what is authenticity? Back to Wikipedia. So, authenticity is the degree to which a person's actions are congruent with their values and desires despite external pressures to social conformity. Interesting indeed, right? So when we combine the two, right? Basically what we can gather, what I have gathered from really kind of digging deeper into these concepts is that you can build a brand by building a public perception of yourself. Because nowhere in that definition of personal branded did it say anything about authenticity, about truth, right? It's perception. And as we all know, perception is reality, right? So if I perceive something, that is my reality. And so you as an individual can go online, you could show up at work, you could go to meetings, you could come to client calls with a certain perception you want to portray and put on that character to create that perception. And you're creating a personal brand for yourself, but it's not built on authenticity. It's built on some persona that you created in your head because you think that's what the world wants to see from you. You think that's how the world wants you to show up. And so I'm here today to talk about these two concepts together as it relates to women of color. right? Because what I have found is that a lot of my clients, people I come in contact with, people I chat with in this, in this space trying to build a name for themselves, um, they are struggling to show up authentically, right? Hell, I did it, right? When I was first starting out writing resumes, trying to build a business and all that, I had a Facebook and I was on that Facebook acting a damn fool. Okay. I was on Facebook partying all the time, showing pictures of me at the clubs, I cuss like a sailor. I still do. And all of these things. And when I decided I wanted to be a businesswoman, I decided I can't let the world see that from me because they won't take me seriously and they won't trust me enough to give me their money. And so I deleted that whole Facebook and I started a brand new Facebook page. And I was telling all my friends, my brand, I have to protect my brand because there's a perception. I want the world to see me in a certain light. I am not this ratchet, island girl who loves to be barefoot, cuss like a sailor, drink a lot. I am this professional resume expert here to help you climb the corporate ladder. So you can't see that side of me because that's not congruent with what I want to put out into the world. And if I do show that side of me, you won't pay me for my expertise. Mind you, the expertise was always there, baby. I was always super smart, smarter than the average bear. But I felt like me showing up in my full, grew up in the hood, Detroit attitude was not going to get there. And part of that is true. I believe part of it is true. There is a certain kind of, you do want to come off like you got some sense, right? Uh, on the work what we're saying. But if you say y'all, then say y'all in the meeting. You feel me? Like if that's how you speak, then say it how you would speak. At the end of the day, it's not about using big words, it's about getting the message across. Right. And I would love for us as women of color to show up being who we are, saying y'all if that's how we talk, wearing our hair in the natural state, right? Coming to work with braids, all of these things that we kind of hide. And it's not, I have a client I was chatting with the other day. She was telling me about how she's so tired of uh, think I lost connection there for a second. Okay, cool. So becoming this other person that she feels like she needed to be successful. Mind you, she has, risen through the ranks. She has, gotten several promotions, and her white men bosses are constantly telling her, "You are enough. You are phenomenal. We want to promote you." And when she would get the promotions, which she does, which she hates and she's trying to stop, or not, the at the end of the day, her value that she's bringing to the organization is far beyond whatever little quirk that she has about herself, right? And I would love for all of us collectively, Black women collectively, to start showing up powerfully and authentically as we build our personal brands. Because at the end of the day, when we show up fully in who we are inspiring other Black women to show up fully in who we are. Case in point, same young lady said that she has a mentor at work, and the mentor is above her, and the mentor gives zero fucks. Like she doesn't period. And she admires my client. She admires this woman because she's also a black woman navigating that space, but she has a different approach. She's saying, y'all gonna take me for who I am, whether you like me or not, I'm gonna get the job done. And that's the attitude I would love for all of us to take as we navigate our lives, as we navigate our jobs in the world. Collectively, y'all, hear me. Collectively, if we all decide we're gonna stop code switching, if we all decide we're gonna show up on LinkedIn authentically, right? If we all decide that, what are you gonna do? We gotta teach the world how to treat us, right? They say we are the most disrespected demographic on the planet. Well, if we stop taking the disrespect, and creating these narratives and creating the perception, I want it to be rooted in truth. I want it to be rooted in truth. And so, what does that mean? That means that we're not going to consider ourselves, small. We're not going to shrink ourselves. We're not going to only show the world things that we think they want to see. We're not going to present perfection because that doesn't exist. We're going to show up knowing that we have flaws, that we have faults, that we're always, gonna have room to grow, and that who we are at our core is valuable. And being authentic is not about telling the world all of our business and all the stuff we're going through right now. Being authentic is about sharing your story of triumph, sharing your story of struggle and the fact that you overcame, and showing other people, all people, any people, that you too can reach a certain level of success, that you too can get through that struggle, because I did. Look at me, I struggled. And so when you're talking about personal branding and you're talking about, putting out content, yes, we want to hear your strategy. We want to hear some how-tos. We want to hear, educate us on how you do certain things, your framework, and all of that is, yes, wonderful, because we're going to take that and it's actionable. But how to really build a strong personal brand is through the power of storytelling, showing the world who you are, how you deal with life, how you overcome things, right? It's about vulnerability, but again, not oversharing. So let me give you an example of what I mean by oversharing. Oversharing is, oh my God, I had a breakdown this morning because, my I don't know, my son is having struggles in school and I'm just I don't know what else to do right now. And you put that on social media. But then when people are commenting and they're saying things like, well, you should look at yourself as a mom, or, what are you doing to help your son? That you're not ready for those comments, and those comments will hurt and sting and burn and send you into a spiral. Don't share that. Don't share that. You're not ready to share that yet. Make sure you're sharing things that you have already dealt with, that someone couldn't come and say something that would break you down, right? Because some wounds are still raw, some wounds are not ready, they're not healed, they're not ready to be exposed, and that's okay. That's not what I mean by authenticity. I'm not saying share your scars with the world so they can throw alcohol on them. Like, nah, that's not what we're doing. But we're not going to show up saying we're here, we never struggled either, right? Because the struggles and the things that we think are issues or are hindering us or weaknesses are someone else's weaknesses and struggles. And if you're sharing that and you're showing them that you're still showing up and you're still here and you're still thriving and you're still progressing, then that gives them hope, especially us as Black women. If we show up and we share our stories, it's showing other Black women that they too can overcome, right? So speak from your heart, use your unique voice, your experiences, they're all very, very powerful for building your brand. Don't be scared like to use some of these cultural references that we have to make the jokes that we have, right? Because that authenticity cannot be replicated. What we bring into the table cannot be replicated. Our backgrounds are unique to us, and our perspectives are needed in the world. So show up to the meeting as who you are. Show up to the meeting. Say y'all. That's how you talk, right? Because at the end of the day, the people who shun you or judge you or tell you you're not good enough, those are not your people. And that's okay, baby. That's okay, baby. Right? It's okay. You're not for everybody. You're not for everyone. And that is okay. As long as you know that you're chatting to the people who need to hear you, to who need to hear your story, the people that are waiting for you, because we all have a set of people on this planet that are waiting for us, specifically for us to show up. I believe that with all of my heart. When I was deep into the resume writing world, I there were so many, great and wonderful leaders that I looked up to in that industry, but none of them really looked like me. And what I was noticing in the industry is that a lot of the ones that looked like me were underselling themselves, charging BS, struggling to grow, and I decided that I would become the change I wanted to see among my own community. So I started a community. I started a group, grew that thing to like 300 resume writers. Not one time did I ever say, I am here to serve only Black resume writers. Not one time did I ever say that in my marketing to get people in. I just showed up as who I was, and my vibe attracted my tribe. And I did what I set out to do. And I know for a fact that I made an impact on those people because they told me every day. They told me every day. But guess what? If I wouldn't have shown up, where would they be? They wouldn't necessarily have. Maybe there would have been someone else, but they wouldn't have had someone who knew their struggles. I was able to connect with those folks because I knew their struggles. I understood exactly what they were thinking. I understood the pain they were feeling, right, in trying to grow a whole resume business because I had did it already. And all I did was show them, hey, I know what you're thinking. Here's what you're struggling with right now. Here's how I overcame, and you can too. It's as simple as that, right? It's as simple as that. Sharing your story is so important. Like, it's so important, but you have to share the truth. You cannot try to sugarcoat it. You cannot try to act like you didn't struggle. If you didn't struggle, that's wonderful too, right? We're not saying, you know, you have to have struggled. Not necessarily. You may have came out the gate just killing it, and that's fine. But what did you do to accomplish that? Share with us how you did it. What lessons did you learn along the way? How did you even know how to do that? Maybe someone else imparted some knowledge on you. Whatever it is, be authentic with it, right? And another thing I want to point out about this is you want to also be constantly assessing yourself, right? So if you're constantly thinking about, am I being authentic here? Check in with yourself, right? Am I being real? Right? And if you feel like, no, that felt off, that didn't feel like me, why? Why in that moment did I decide to shrink or dim my light? Why? Dig deep into this, y'all. Dig deep into this because whatever those reasons are, I had a client, she, during our sessions, she discovered she was shrinking herself for her own husband. She had to rewrite, she had to create a new truth around that. She had to rewrite how she viewed herself in relation to her husband. And if you don't have a constant check in with yourself, you will lose yourself and turn around and be like, wait, who am I? I don't even know who I am because I've been putting up this front for so long, trying to appease all these other folks. I don't even know who I am. Who is Mel? That's a sad place to be, y'all. I don't want y'all to wonder who you are. I want you to know. I want you to come into the room knowing who you are, knowing what value you bringing, knowing how you add that value, Knowing who you are is so important, and it's for us has been such a challenge because we have over time throughout history our narrative has been written for us. We are the angry black women. Are we though? Or are we just standing up for ourselves? Right? When your big why is big enough, then you'll start to realize all the foolishness you've been telling yourself, all the BS you have bought into was not based in truth at all. It was curated for you to not come to the table with your full power. The full essence of who you are cannot be replicated. Therefore, when you are trying to build a brand, you have to know who you are first. Other than that, they will eat you alive. Know who you are first. Do that work. Do the work. Because, yes, it seems like it would be easier to just make up a fake persona, but child, over time, woo, so much harder. You got to keep up with the facade. You got to get the energy to do things that you don't really want to do or are not innate to you to do. And that leaves you empty. That leaves you empty, right? And then now you're not building a brand that's trustworthy. Building a good brand is based on trust. Authenticity is about trust, right? It's about trust, knowing who you're dealing with. Your people want to know who they're dealing with. If you're looking and asking them for money and you ask them to follow you and do all these things, they got to trust you because they're gonna go tell their friends about you, and then their friends gonna be like, "Oh, that's who she is. All right, cool." And then the moment you wake up and decide, "Yo, this is really not who I am," they're gonna be like, "Oh, I was bamboozled." And there's the trust. There's your people. People don't like to be deceived, so don't deceive yourself because it starts with you deceiving yourself first. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say today. Hopefully, this hit home for you. If you're listening, if you're a woman of color and you're looking to build a brand, you're really going to need to get clear on who you are and make sure you're showing up authentically, because that piece is probably the most vital part of building a personal brand. Because even if you're successful at building a brand based on a lie or based on, things that are not real, and you're successful, it'll eat you alive, child. It will eat you alive because you know the truth in your own heart. If you're a decent person. Now, if you don't care, you just out here, you don't, that's different. But most of us have a conscience and most of us want to do the right thing. And the right thing for your people, for you, for your cause, for your mission is to be authentic. Be who you are. It is the most powerful thing that you can do. Because as much as you think people want to see a certain thing, they don't. They just want to see who you are. Allow them to make the decision if they want you in their space or not, because you're not for everyone, and that's okay. You got to learn how to deal with that. Learn how to understand, like, that's not my people. It's fine. I got to go somewhere where I'm celebrated and not tolerated. All right? So thank you so much. I appreciate you spending this time with me today. If you are interested in learning more about how to build an authentic brand, definitely you want to book a call. It's www.chatwithmel.com to book a call with me to learn more about what I offer, my services, how I help folks with their personal branding, building their brand. I also have some done for you content services as well, some LinkedIn content, some LinkedIn strategy. I have a LinkedIn course that's coming soon. So definitely get with me if it's been on your heart and mind to build an authentic personal brand for whatever it may be, right? So you could build a brand for several reasons. It could be, because you want to get clients. If you have a business, maybe you want to mentor up and coming folks that's coming behind you. Maybe you want to change the face of your industry, similar to what I did. Whatever the case may be, it starts with you being authentic. So if you need help figuring out who you are, I can help you with that for sure. All right. So enjoy the rest of your day and Happy self marketing.